And I'm back doing the color switcher in Unity, creating the source code. I'm going to share my screen again, and you guys are going to be able to see what we have so far. All right. So this is the game, and let me go all the way up so that you guys can see that. Okay, so what we have so far, we have the circle, we have the cross, we have the rectangle, we have the bars and the triangle. All right, we do have the ball, it goes through, and we know whenever the ball touches the wrong part. Now, what we need is also to create the checkpoint and also get points every time we go through the checkpoints, and also a color switcher, the circle that will switch the color of the ball. So let's start with the easy part, which would be creating the star, which is what makes the user get extra points every time it goes through a specific shape. All right, so in the actual game, they use a star. So we could use a star just for the sake of it, but you don't have to do that neither. So I'm going to go to the web, and I'm going to go to openclipart.org, and I'm going to look for a star. And if you just go there and click star, I'm sure you'll find plenty of star. And and they will do just fine. So I could actually use this red star, so red star in star, or even this one, the simple star. It's up to me at this point. I will use this simple star right here. That will do just fine. Yep. So I'm going to download as a medium image PNG file. All right, it's downloaded. Now I'm going to take it and put it inside of Unity. So I just take it, go to Unity, and put it inside of the project. Now, I don't think I can do that. Yeah, it won't let me, so I have to go to the project and drop it there straight. Okay, so doing it again, dropping it in my assets. All right, now, the name is kind of weird. It just says star. And also, I see that the star is transparent, so that's not exactly what I want. So I'm going to have to modify it. So I'm going to right-click and do Reveal in Finder. And here, what I'm going to do is rename it to star.png. And now I'm going to open it with Photoshop to just paint inside of it. Now, obviously, you could use any software you want to paint inside of this. All the tools can paint. So I'm going to use the Paint Bucket. You can use GIMP, by the way, if you want. Also, on Microsoft Paint does it too. I'm just going to paint inside of it. Now, obviously, it's blue, and I don't want blue. I'm going to take white. So I'm going to click here and change the color to white. Boom, done. Right, now I'm going to save this. Command-Alt-Shift-S, save for web as a PNG file, save. And I'm going to replace the star.png. Are you sure you want to replace? Yes, replace. Right, now I can close the star, don't save. And if I take a look at it, I will see the star is right there, making sure it's a sprite. Yep, okay, it's perfect. So what I'm going to do is drag and drop it inside of the game. So I just drag and drop it there. And here is the star. Now I can move it. Obviously, it's way too big, so it's not a problem. I can just scale it down, let's say to 0.3, 0.3, 0.3, 0.3. Okay, that looks better already. It could be bigger, but this will do. And I'm going to move the star a little bit up. And where you want the star is usually right after going through an element, such as the bar or the cross and so on. So first, let's create the logic whenever we take the star. So the logic here is to get 1 point whenever we go through the star and remove the star. Okay, now that I've said that, let's go ahead and do this. So I'm going to create a new object, a new empty object, create empty, and I'm going to call it star, okay, or star checkpoint. Yeah, star checkpoint. Why? Because it's a checkpoint in the sense that every time we go through the star, we get a point, okay? Here we go. And I'm going to put it at 0, 0, 0. Perfect. Now what I want to do is add a trigger on this. So add component, and the component will be the trigger, which would be a box collider, or here it could be a polygon collider. But a box collider will be perfect because as long as it touches it, it's good. So look for a box collider 2D. That's more than enough. Now, if you go to the scene, you'll see the box collider is around the star, and that's perfect. That's the best way to get a point here. And now make sure you put is trigger in the box collider so that it does not stop the ball. Cool. Now the next step is to create the script that says whenever the ball touches this, we get 1 point. So add component, and here we're going to add a new script. And I'm going to call this one star script, right? And then, or star checkpoint script. Now, it probably is better if we just call it checkpoint script, because if in the future you decide for it not to be a star and just any other shape, you know that it's just a checkpoint, and that's what matters. So create script. All right, I'm going to double click on it to open it. Now it's open with MonoDevelop. Now what I want to do is look for the collision, and we already had that in the trigger script. You guys remember we had the on trigger enter, so you can just copy this line of code. It's going to be the exact same one, and we're just going to change the method text inside of it. So the method is the same, but the behavior will be different. So I'm going to remove that for now. We don't need this. I'm just going to paste this, and I'm going to remove what's inside of this. So what I'm left with is the on trigger enter, and check if the other object is the player. So technically, if this hits the player, then we need to increase the points. So one way to increase the points is to have a method to be able to increase the points. Now, I would want to create this method first. And I'm going to create this method in the manager references. Why? Because it's always good to have to be able to increase the points from one of the managers, which has total access, or everyone can access it. All right, so having said this, I'm going to add the score here. So after the colors, I'm going to the score, public. The score will be an int score. Okay, and by default, it will obviously be 0, so I just put 0 here. And then I'm going to put a new method, void increase score. Increase. Let me put an uppercase I so that I know that it's going to be public and I can access it from outside. Public void increase score. And what we could do here is put an amount, so int amount, so that sometimes it could be more than 1. Okay, and we can do score plus equal. So we add the amount to the score. Here we go. And obviously we need to display the score. So to do display the score. Okay, so we need to display the new score. Good. Now let's go back to the checkpoint. And here inside of this, what do we do? Well, we call the manager references. So we're going to do manager references refs is equal to manager to GameObject.find. We're going to find the manager and take the script from the manager. Dot get component, and the component is the manager references. Right, and open and close the parentheses and the semicolon at the end. That's it. Now we have the manager references as a ref, and now we can do refs dot increase score, and then we can put the amount plus ref dot increase score, and it needs an amount. So let's create an amount. So I'm going to just call this one amount, and obviously we don't have an amount, so we need to create it. So I'm going to do it here, public int score amount. Score is equal to 1. Okay, so we know that it will increase by 1. So here, score amount. All right. Okay, so now we know that, but guess what? We only want this to happen once. So as soon as the trigger has happened, we disable this object. How do we disable it? There's many ways. We can delete it or disable it. So I'm going to do both just to show you. So I'm going to do this dot set active. So this dot game object dot set active is false. So now the object will be invisible, so that it cannot interact with it. And then we can do this dot get, or we can call this destroy, and we're going to destroy this. All right. Good. So that's it at this point. Now, what I can do is try this out. How am I going to try this out? Well, I just have to put the star a bit higher than this so that the ball can go and touch it. All right. So I'm going to put it just a little bit right above the bar here. Okay. Now I'm going to play the game. And and the star should disappear. So I'm going to go up. Let's see. There we go. The star disappeared. And let's take a look at the score. So if I click on the manager, we should be able to see the score value. And the score is 1. Perfect. Because it was at 0, but now it's at 1 because we got 1 star. Excellent. So far, everything was great. Now, we'll have to display the score, obviously. So we're going to do this in the top left corner. And I'm going to use a canvas to do that. So create a canvas, pretty straightforward. Click on a game object, UI, and select canvas. We always need a canvas to display stuff. Now, inside of that canvas, we're going to create, there's many ways. We could create a panel, or we could just create it straight here. So I'm going to right-click and add a UI object, and just for the score, just some text. So the score will be text. Here it is. We should see it somewhere. Now, the text color is black, so we're not going to see it. So let's make it white so that it's easy to see. All right. Now it says new text. Excellent. And I'm going to change its height from 30 to 60 so that it's a lot bigger. And the width for 160, that's more than enough. And what I'm going to do is move this to the top left corner. How do I do this? Well, I'll select the rect transform and move it to the top left, then click on the Alt or Option key and put top left as well so that it goes there as well. Excellent. Now, the next step is to move it a little bit to the right so that it doesn't touch the edge too much. And to do this, I'm going to work on the position. I can move the position on the X by a few more pixels. Here we go. And then the position on the Y by a few more pixels down. Here we go. All right, so that's already better. Now, something else I want to do is make it bigger so that we can see the score. First, I'm going to put it 0 by default so that we see a 0, but it's very small. So let me increase its size by changing the font size. Right now it's at 14. I'm going to put, let's say, 40. All right, that's already better. Let's go with 50. Okay, cool. 50, and we can definitely see the score. Now, what we need to do is create the logic to increase that. And what we need to do is rename this text to score text. Okay, so that we know it's the score. All right, score text. Now, I'm going to tell the manager that this exists. So I'm going to click on the manager and select the manager references script. And here, I'm going to add the score text. So to add the score text, it's a UI element. So I need to add the UI framework or library. So using that's using Unity Engine .ui. Here it is. Now we can use the text. So right after the score, public text with an uppercase T, score text. Good. All right. And now what we need to do is display the score here by doing score text dot text is equal to score dot toString, so that we know it's a string and we can display the text. Excellent. And that is that simple now. Now to do play a sound effect of score up. Okay, so that anyone can do. We can do that later at any point. It's as easy as adding a sound effect and pressing play with the name of that sound effect. But anyway, now we need a reference to the score text. As you can see, it says known right now. So I'm going to take the score text and drag and drop it inside of the score text, inside of the manager reference. Boom, here it is, I see it. Okay, good. So now I can just press play. And what's going to happen, I'm going to take the star and the score should increase. Let's see. Yep, that's it. The score went to 1. Okay, excellent. It works perfectly. Now, I just want to make the score a little bit bigger by making it bold. Okay, so it's normal, but I make it bold so that we can see it better now. Excellent. All right, so that's it for the score. Now, something you would want to do is place more stars so that we can increase the score. And the best way to actually place the star is to create a prefab out of this. So I'm going to create a prefab right now. Inside of my prefab folder, I'm going to right-click and create prefab. Okay, and I'm going to name it star checkpoint. All right, and I'm going to drag and drop the star checkpoint inside of it. Done. Now, what I need to do is also create prefabs out of all the objects that I have. I see I have a prefab for the horizontal bar. I have one for the rectangle, but I don't have one for the cross or the triangle, neither the circle. So I'm going to do this right now. Right click, create. The first one would be the triangle, so a prefab, and I'm going to call it triangle, right? And now I'm going to drag and drop the triangle inside of it. Good, I have a prefab. Now let's do the same for the cross. Right click, create prefab, and I'm going to name this prefab cross. Drag and drop the cross inside of it. Good, and finally the circle. Right click, create prefab, and I'm going to name this one circle. All right, and I'm going to drag and drop the circle inside of it. All right, so I believe I have all the prefabs that I need, the bars, the rectangles, the triangle, and so on. That's great. Now, something else I want to do is add the stars inside of it. And the easiest way to add the stars is to go on the scene and duplicate the star checkpoint and put it inside of the object. So I'm going to click on the horizontal bars on the first one and add the star inside of it. So I'm going to take the star checkpoint and just duplicate it. So duplicate and put it inside of the horizontal bar, the first one. All right, and I'm going to put it at the top so that I can easily see it. All right, star point. Now, the best is actually to do it, and also we need to move it and see where we want to put it. So right now, the start checkpoint and the horizontal bar, it's pretty good. It's right above it, so that's good. Okay, so that's good enough. Now we can do the same for the next bar, but I wouldn't have to do that if I do this on the prefab and then apply this to all the bars. So since these that don't come from the prefab, it did not complain about it. But if I take this horizontal bar, just move it here. All right, I have the bar. Here it is. Now I'm going to create and add the start checkpoint inside of it. Take the start checkpoint and move it inside of it. Okay, and now I'm going to select the horizontal bar and click on apply. Good. So if I remove this one and I add a new start checkpoint, you'll see that it has the star as a child. Okay, so I just put it here. And as you can see, if I move it, it moves with the star. Okay, so we have the bar and the star that moves. Now I don't see the bar, so maybe the, well, hold on. I messed up. I put the start checkpoint inside. That's not what I needed to do. So I need to remove the star. Okay. I need to remove the start checkpoint. That's not what I wanted. I wanted the actual horizontal bar. Okay, so I see the horizontal bar and it doesn't have the star, so I'm going to add the star inside of it. But I'm not going to add, I'm going to add the start checkpoint. So inside of the horizontal bar, here we go. No, don't replace. I don't want to replace. I want to put it inside of it. Okay, so maybe if it doesn't let me do it like this, I'm going to put the horizontal bar in the project. And now I'm going to add the start checkpoint inside of it. Okay, start checkpoint inside. All right, let me see. Right here at the beginning, so we can see it. Okay, and then click on apply. All right, I clicked on apply. Now let's look at the star. Let's look at the horizontal bar. Yep, it has a start checkpoint. I'm just going to rename it. If they let me, well, there's no need to rename anyway. So it won't let me. So okay. So now, if I remove this horizontal bar and I add a new one, so I select horizontal bar and I drag and drop it. Check this out. It does have the start checkpoint inside of it. So the logic works perfectly right out of the box. Okay, so I can just move it and we're good to go. So I'm going to remove the 3 horizontal bars that I have here and just add the new one that I just created. Why? Because the new one has the star inside of it. Okay, so 1, then 2, then 3. So now let me move them. I'm going to take horizontal bar 2 and move it up a little bit. So I'm going to move it right after the triangle, right here. And now I'm going to move the horizontal bar number 2 right above that as well. Okay, so that should do it. Good. Now let's add the star to the rectangle. So right here I have the rectangle, but same thing, I'm going to remove the rectangle and use the rectangle prefab. So drag and drop the rectangle prefab. Okay, and it's a bit too low, so I'm going to put it up. All right. And now what I'm going to do is add a star inside of this. So I'm going to take the start checkpoint and I'm going to duplicate it and move it inside of the rectangle. Good. And change its position to 0, 0, 0. And now check this out. By doing this, we see that the star is like right above it, but we don't want it there. We want it below. So what I'm going to do is select the start checkpoint and move it down by just clicking on W and moving it inside of it. All right, here we go. So this should be good. So I'm going to select the rectangle and click on apply so that it goes inside of the prefab. And if I look at the rectangle now, I actually don't see it there. So somehow it did not take the start checkpoint. That's not a problem. We can easily either create a new prefab out of this or move it there. So let me just remove that prefab and create a new one then. Oh, I'm looking at the triangle. That's why, not the rectangle. Let's see. Yeah, okay, so we have it. Okay, I'm sane. Everything's okay, good. So I'm going to press play and show you that I'm going to go through. Right now, there's an extra star. That's normal. So let me move it down so that you guys are not confused, because that's the original star that I keep duplicating. So let me take this start checkpoint and move it so that you guys are not confused. I'm going to move it all the way down so that it's easier. All right, at -30. Good. And now I'm going to press play. We still have an extra star. Yes, because I have an extra. So let me just remove it. All right, so we have the star, but we also have, the problem here is that the star is also moving. So so it's up to you at this point. Do you want to have the star moving or not? And we probably don't want the star to move. So we're going to have to work on the logic to make sure that the star does not move. And that's something we're going to fix. All right, so there are multiple approaches to do that. But before we do so, I want to show you that it's only doing this for the ones that are moving left and right, not for the ones that are at the center. So check the rectangle. I'm going all the way to the rectangle. And you guys see the star? It's exactly where it needs to be. So that's good. And we got a point by just doing that. So that's good. The only problem that we have is when it's moving left and right. So that's an easy fix, though. How do we fix that? Well, let's create a new object for the bar. So I'm going to right-click. And I'm going to create an empty object. And this object, I'm just going to name it GameObjectBar for now. Now, what I'm going to do is take the horizontal bar and first remove the two extra bars, the bar 1 and bar 2. So we only have one horizontal bar. What I'm going to do is take it and move it inside of the GameObjectBar. So far, so good, easy. And I'm going to take the start checkpoint and move it outside of it. It says it's going to break the prefab. That's okay. Continue. All right. And now I'm going to remove the. I'm going to press play, and I will show you that it's not moving anymore. Okay, because only the bar is moving, not the actual star. That's good. So now let's make a prefab out of this. I'm going to remove the horizontal bar prefab and select this GameObjectBar and name it horizontal bar. Cool. And now I'm going to make a prefab out of this. Right click, create prefab, name it horizontal bar. Drag and drop this new bar, which is here, horizontal bar. Okay, good. So I'm going to drag and drop it inside of that horizontal bar. All right. So I believe that's all we need. The other one that might have a problem would be the cross. So we're going to have to fix the cross as well. I can do it right now. So I'm going to take the cross and I'm going to create a new object. So right click, create empty and name it GameObjectCross. Take the cross object, move it inside of the GameObjectCross and add the start checkpoint. So I'm going to take a start checkpoint and just add it inside of it. Okay, now I'm going to click on the object. And I need to put the cross at probably 0, 0, 0. Let's see. Let me move the whole object up so that you guys can see it better. Okay. Now the actual start checkpoint needs to move as well to 0, 0, 0. Okay. Now, if you take a look at it, what's going on here is that we have the star that's probably too high. You probably want the star to be at the center of this bar. So how am I going to do this? Well, I'm going to take the star and move it a little bit down by clicking on W and just move it down. Somewhat around here is probably a good spot. Good. All right. So now let's move that game object so that it doesn't, it's not right there at the center. But before I want to do so, I want to create a new object. So I'm going to put it at 0, 0, 0 for now. Okay. And I'm going to remove the cross object, the cross prefab, and create a new one. Right click, create prefab, and call it cross. Right. And I'm going to drag and drop this inside of the cross. All right, and just rename this one game cross or just cross. Good. Now, what I'm going to do next is move it to the position that I want, and I'm going to move it just right there so that we can also see it. All right. Now let's press play and see the cross in action. So we see the bar is good, the triangle needs to be done, and the cross is also good. Now I can probably move it a little bit more lower, and that will do. Let's see. Now the problem with that cross is that there is no way to go through. I need to put it to the side. So what do I mean by this is that there's no way to go through it. I need to like put it right there. Okay, and now we'll be able to go through it. But if I put it right there, then I need to move the actual star checkpoint to the center. So that would be somewhat around here. Okay, I don't know if you guys understand what I'm doing here. I'm making sure that we can have the ball that goes through it. So I'm going to press play, and now check this out. Let me go where the cross is, which is right there. As you can see, it's hard to see the bonus point, so I need to move it down a little bit. I'm going to take the star checkpoint and move it down here. Good. Now you might want to make them a bit bigger. Now it's up to you at this point. All right, and let's try this out. Okay, so the first star, and now, excellent. I can see the second star, and I can actually take it if I have the right color. Excellent. That looks good. Okay, now let's work on the triangle. So I'm going to select the triangle, and I'm going to add a star checkpoint inside of the triangle. Right at the center, I'm going to take the star checkpoint and move it inside of the triangle at position 0, 0, 0. Right, and now I have the triangle, and I'm going to move not the triangle, I'm going to move just the star checkpoint at the center of it. Okay, good. Now I might want to make the triangle bigger, but that will do for now. So this will be tweaking that I need to do later on. But I believe that now every of our objects have what we need. The bar has the star, the triangle has the star, the cross has the star, the rectangle has the star. Now we are missing the circle. So I'm going to take the circle and add it. Okay. Now, where is the circle? Okay, here it is. Okay, so I already had a circle, so I'm going to remove this one. Just going to take this circle and move it down so that we can see it with the rest of the elements. Good. And I need to add a star to the circle. And I'm going to just create or add a star checkpoint at the center of it. Drag and drop a new star prefab, and then let's move it around. So make sure it's a child. I'm going to put it at 0, 0, 0, and move it down a little bit. I'm going to zoom in so that we can see it. Okay, and that's not perfectly at the center, so let me move it down a little bit. Okay, and that looks at the center to me. All right. Now I'm going to press play and see them all in action. So good, triangle good, cross good. The square, the rectangle is good, and the circle is good as well. Excellent. So they all are good. The only thing missing is that the circle prefab does not have it. So I'm going to remove the circle prefab and create a new one. Right click, create prefab, and call it circle, and now add the circle inside of this prefab. Cool. Now, let me make sure that every single of the prefab have the star. The circle has the star, the cross has the star, the horizontal bar has the star. The triangle does not have the star, so I need to do it. and that's the only one that's missing it. So that's not a problem. I'm just going to delete this one, create a new prefab, create prefab, and name it triangle. Now I'm going to drag and drop the triangle inside of it. Oopsie, well, I can just do that then. Triangle. Cool. All right, so now I'm good with all my prefabs. And my next step is to, at this point, my next step is to make sure that that I can color switch. Okay, so I want to be able to change the colors as I go through each of these objects. And to change the colors, we need to create some kind of a circle ball that has different colors that tells that, hey, as soon as you're going to go through this, the colors will change. So let's go ahead and create that. Now I'm going to use Photoshop. And what we need is 1/4 sphere. So I'm going to take a plain circle and just create 1/4 of it. So Command N to create what we call a circle. Okay, 237, that's good. And I'm going to make this completely transparent by deleting what's inside of it. My next step is to create half a circle by selecting the circle tool and creating an elliptical tool. And now what I'm going to do is just select this corner, and I'm going to drag and drop this around. So drag and drop. Okay, and I need to make sure that it takes, I'm clicking on Shift so that it keeps the shape. All right, and that's good. Excellent. And now that's 1/4 of a circle. And I'm going to save this. Save, and call this one quarter circle filled. Why filled? Because it's not a plain circle. It's actually filled with a color. Okay, the white color, but still. And save. Now I did save it right here inside of my assets, so we should be able to see it. Let's see. I thought I did save it here, but somehow I don't see it. Oh yes, here. Quarter circle filled. Excellent. So I'm going to drag and drop it here. Cool. Now that I have it, I'm going to double click on it to see it. Okay. Now make sure that the quarter circle is a sprite. Good. It's a sprite. Excellent. So now I have my quarter circle, but I need multiple of them. So how do I do that? Well, I'm going to create a new object. Right click, create empty, and I'm going to put it below. And I'm going to name this one color switcher object. Why color switcher? Because this is the object that will switch or change the color. And I'm going to take this quarter circle and put it inside of it. All right. I'm going to put it at 0, 0, 0. Then the quarter circle would not be at 0, 0, 0. It would be moved so that it's at the center. So I'm going to move it here and move it a little bit down. Okay, so here would do. And I'm going to duplicate that circle. But before I want to duplicate it, what we could do is we can just duplicate it, but we want to add a color to this, right? And we can change the color here, but that's okay. We can do this in a little bit. I don't have to do it right now. So I'm going to duplicate it. Just gonna click on it and Command D to duplicate, and I'm going to duplicate it 2 more times. So there's 4 of them. And I'm going to rotate them. So this quarter filled one, I'm going to rotate it on the Z-axis by 90. And now that it's rotated, I'm going to move it up. Excellent. Now I'm going to take the quarter filled 2 and move it by 180. All right, so now I can put it up as well. As you can see, it's creating the circle. Good. And finally, the circle filled 3 by 270, which is 3 times 90, and move it to the left. Okay. Now, it's all white, and there isn't any colors, but that's not a problem. We can easily add colors by selecting each individual ones and looking at the sprite renderer and changing the colors. So I'm going to put red. Then the one below, the filled one, I'm going to put, let's say, yellow. Then the filled 2, I'm going to make it blue. Here, actually, the colors don't really matter. It's more for the aesthetic. So feel free to put any colors you like. And then this one, I'm going to put green. Okay. All right. Good. So now I do have the color switch object. It's a little bit too big, but that's not a problem. I can easily change that. But before I do so, what I want to add is some kind of what I want to add is a box collider with a trigger so that we know we got through this. So add component, box collider 2D. Now, I see the box collider, it's way too small, but that's not a problem. Let's make it bigger. We can use the size. So I'm going to increase the size. And you can make it a lot bigger because it doesn't matter at this point. What matters is that the object goes through it. Okay, so a box collider this size is good enough. Now, the next thing I want to do is make it smaller. I'm going to click on it and scale it down. Right now it's at 1. I'm going to scale it down to 0.6. 0.6, 0.6, 0.6. Okay, it's a decent size. Now I can move it. Let me just move it right above, right here, so that we can see it. Cool. Now that I have it, what I want to do is make it rotate. And the beauty of reusing components is that I do have a component to rotate things. I can just click on the color switch, add component, and locate the rotation movement script that we created earlier. And it has a rotation speed of 1. We can make it maybe at 2 and see how it goes. I'm going to press play and see what we have so far. Okay, so as you guys can see, it's here and it's rotating. It's excellent. It looks great. Now it's not at the right position. So as you can see, things are like moving down. And you might be wondering what's going on here, right? What the heck is going on, right? What is this bug? It's actually pretty cool, but it's kind of weird. And it's actually very simple. The reason why is that we have the ball that's colliding with the color switch object that we just created. Why? Because we need to add a trigger on it. Click on is trigger, and that will fix the bug. Okay? All right, so now, as you can see, I can go through it, and it's all good. Cool. Now, we need to create the script that will change this to the actual color that we want. And to be able to do that, we need to create a new script. So whenever the ball is going to touch this object, this will change the color of the ball. And in order to do that, probably the best way to do this is to add that to each object and know what are the allowed colors that you can use. So we need to add this inside of each of these objects and again, create new prefabs out of this. And right now I'm going to take a quick break and we'll do this very soon. All right.